Hello and welcome to PFF Fantasy Football Podcast USFL edition. I'm your host Ian Hartitz. Happy playoffs. Everyone made it through 10 exhilarating, dare I say borderline erotic 10 weeks of the regular season. And now we're here. 4 teams remain, 2 weeks. Let's crown a damn champion. Why the hell not? Going to just break down these two matchups today with all the friendly resources that PFF continues to supply us with. And yeah, great day to be great. Let's get after it. On Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, Philadelphia Stars will take on the New Jersey Generals. Generals favored by 4.5 points. Game total at 47.5. Look, on the year, the Stars worst defense by pretty much any metric you want to look at, but they're 6-4. They can score with anybody. And if you look at it, nobody did score more points than Philadelphia per game this year at 26.2. Crazy stat I found, though, the Stars have gone over the 35-point threshold on 3 separate occasions. No other USFL team has reached even 35 points once all year. I think the Stallions got to 33. The Breakers got to 34. I'm not trying to say the Stars are light years ahead of everyone else on offense, but at their best, they really have been better than anyone else. Meanwhile, with the Generals, plus 50-point differential on the season, they were certainly more dominant than the Stars throughout the course of the year, and overall, 5.7 yards per play, league high. Stars are at 5.5 though, so really do have arguably the top 2 offenses in this game, top 2 defenses in the next one, but we'll talk more about that in a minute. On the season, we have already seen these teams play twice. In week 3, the Generals won 24-16. In week 10, they won 26-23. Both instances, we really just saw the Generals use that ground attack, control the ball, ultimately win out. Game 1, they had a 36-23 minute advantage in the time of possession. Last week in week 10, it was still 35-25. So the yardage difference was a lot closer in week 10. Week 3 was actually the last time we saw week 1 starter for the Stars, Brian Scott, under center. Case Cookis came in and largely has done a great job all season long. But the big kind of just trend we saw in these 2 games was the fact that the Generals could really do whatever they wanted on the ground. DeAndre Johnson, Trey Williams, Darius Victor, even a little bit Cavante Turpin mixed in. These guys were just crushing it on the ground. So if they're not going to be able to slow down that Generals, again, 3 to even 4-prong rushing attack could be another long day at the office for the Stars. But then again, if Cookis is cooking, they might just score enough points to win in style. In terms of the top playmakers to watch, mentioned a few of these guys on the Generals already, but running back Darius Victor and wide receiver Cavante Turpin. We were talking about the offensive player of the year in Victor and the MVP in Turpin, which I couldn't agree more with. Truly, whoever listed Turpin's weight on their roster as 155 pounds should be fired. This guy was 175. He would be getting at least a tryout as a returner for an NFL team. I'm not trying to go crazy here as much as I love this league, but come on, guys, 155. Like, I know it's 2022, but that's going to be really tough for anyone to take a chance with, even though Turpin, PFF's single highest graded offensive player this season, has been electric. Rusher, receiver, return man. Nobody is scarier with the football in their hands in this league than Cavante Turpin. In terms of Darius Victor, number 1 rushing yards after contact, touchdowns on the ground, and first downs. It has been, the Victor and Trey Williams show, but if they continue to feed Victor near that goal line, don't expect that to stop. Actually, if you look at it on the season, top 3 highest graded running backs and wide receivers are Turpin, Victor, and Trey Williams. So that's what we've been working with inside of, again, the most efficient offense on a per play basis. Looking at the Stars, got to be Case Cookis, their quarterback, and running back Matt Coburn as the key difference makers. I mean, Cookis in week 8, that was the best single game performance we've seen from a quarterback all season long. 20 for 26, 247 yards, 4 touchdowns. And oh yeah, he also had a 79-yard freaking scramble. Was not very fast there. But again, the best version of the Stars offense has been better than any other offense. I used to think it was going to be the New Orleans Breakers that had the highest offensive ceiling. We have found out that it is, in fact, the Philadelphia Stars. So again, 35 points on 3 separate occasions, like compared to the rest of the league having 0, that to me is crazy. I know it's a little bit of an arbitrary number, but come on, guys, like that is a wild stat. But basically, we do have the league's most pass-happy offense in the Stars facing the league's most run-heavy offense in the and the New Jersey Generals at just 46.2% pass play rate. So if Cookus is not able to, control the air, they're going to need someone to step up and really try to just score some points and win this potential shootout, and that will be Matt Coburn. We have seen him score in 5 consecutive weeks, really taking over this backfield during the second half of the season. Had that monster 3-touchdown game back in week 6, but truly as a rusher and even a little bit as a receiver, he has been electric. Almost looks like he's like battling gravity when he's running. Sometimes, again, I compared him to the USFL's version of Austin Eckler out here, just having fun with these comps. I understand there's a, pretty damn wide gulf in talent between the two, but watching Coburn get loose in the open field is a fun time. They're going to need him to be on top of his game if they want to pull the upset. Key matchup for each offense to exploit. For the Generals, I think they just need to run the damn ball, and that's not going to be something I'm going to say for any other team. But if you look at it, they are number 1 in the USFL in yards rushing before contact at 1.9 yards. You look at the Stars, they are the worst defense in the USFL, averaging 1.8 yards before contact per rush. Overall, the lowest grade overall defense as well as run defense in the entire league. So DeAndre Johnson, Darius Victor, Trey Williams, and Cavante Turpin, I understand. I'm not saying to bench Luis Perez. He's been arguably the best passing quarterback in the entire USFL this year, and they do need to throw the ball at Turpin. Some of their other guys out there, Looper and all that. But at the same time, we've seen the Generals, when they get a lead, they can keep it because they just take the ball, they keep the ball, and they just move the ball up and down the field, running it down the damn throats of the opposition. If they are able to do that, that does seem like their path of least resistance to getting the W. With the Stars, let Case cook his cook. Look, their defense has been awful all season. Why does it not really matter? Because they just outscore the other team. Let's do it. Keep that pass play rate up and just see what happens. I mean, Matt Coburn has been good, but we don't want to see him touching that 20 carry mark. Let's let Cookus go nuts. I mean, looking at the Generals, nobody posted a worse PFF pass rush grade than New Jersey on the season. Actually pressured opponents on just 30% of the dropbacks, which was the second worst mark in the entire USFL. So if you're giving, Cookus a little too much time back there, I do think he has a good chance of making a lot happen, because that has been the only kind of weakness with the Stars passing game. They've allowed a 41% pressure rate, second highest mark in the league. They've given up the 3rd most sacks overall. So with that in mind, if the Stars, if their kryptonite on offense is not being able to block, well, they're now facing the USFL's worst pass rush. So that could be problematic. And I do think their best chance of winning this one is just going to be jumping out to a lead and trying to force the Generals to just get out of their comfort zone, throw the ball a little more. But here we are going into week 11 of this, and only one team's been able to really do that to the Generals all season long. Takes me to the pick. I think the Generals win. I'm taking the Stars plus 4.5. I just think that offense and the capability they have to put up points in a hurry throughout the entire game, having a seemingly healthy Case Cookus, 4.5 seems a little high to me. I would put this spread actually, I think, at 3 points if I was in charge of making the lines, but I'm not. I'm just here betting on them. Give me the Stars plus 4.5. Game number 2, New Orleans Breakers versus the Birmingham Stallions, Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern, everyone. Stallions favored by 5 points, game total at 44.5. So 6-4 Breakers, 9-1 Stallions, prime time, baby. Has not been great for either offense during their last 12 quarters of action. Actually been pretty damn terrible. So I think not great was a bad adjective there. Looking at Birmingham, 46 total points across their last 12 quarters, and it's been even worse for New Orleans. Just 30 points over the last 3 weeks. I mean, Kyle Sloter was the all-USFL quarterback. Right now, it's unclear if he's even their best option under center, sadly. And look, he has had a bunch of injuries he's playing through, and I still think the peak of the New Orleans Breakers offense, while we're giving the nod to the Stars and the things they've been able to do, and Cook is having that magical Week 8 game, I will give the Stars the most upside, but just with some of these wide receivers and with the best version of Sloter, I do think this Breakers passing game can still put a lot together, but it's been a damn long time since we've been able to see that. And similar sentiment with Birmingham. I mean, Jamar Smith, saw a lot of you guys trying to give him the MVP nod, and hey, as the quarterback on one of, if not, a top 2 USFL team, we are used to those players being at the top of the MVP conversation, but just recently it's been really tough for Jamar Smith. And honestly, with the things Alex Magoo has been doing on the ground now that he's healthy, I mean, that 18-yard touchdown run last week where he hurdled the man, pretty impressive there. You do wonder if Magoo would actually be their best choice under center. Earlier this year, we were fighting for Jamar Smith to be that guy. Now it does seem to have swung back in Magoo's favor. Looking at their two matchups, Stallions won them both. In week 3, they won 22-13. In week 8, they won 10-9. Super close games, though. I mean, if you just look at the total 8 quarters of action, total yards, Stallions had 611 total yards. The Breakers had 630. So again, very close. Just the issues for the Breakers offense kind of came down to Kyle Sloter and just the team not being able to take care of the football. In the first matchup, took 4 sacks, and they let the ball hit the ground 4 separate times on fumbles. Second matchup, Sloter had 3 interceptions, which wound up being the story of the afternoon. So we'll see. Marlon Williams for the Stallions and Victor Bolden have really been making a bunch of plays in these 2 spots. And I just think if the Birmingham offense can find a way, whether it's Smith or Magoo, to feed the ball to these wide receivers, that's going to be their best path to victory. And they are going to be my top playmakers to watch for the Stallions. Marlon Williams this year, really just one of the more impressive guys with the ball in his hands. Like, obviously got to give that title to Kevontae Turpin, the things he's done, but Marlon Williams will make you, jack that neck around to watch the TV when you see him with the ball in his hands, because he does do a lot of good things. Number 6 after the catch per reception on the year. PFF's number 8 wide receiver in terms of just yards per reception. We have seen Victor Bolden get the higher target share, be used a little bit more downfield, but the big story here, I don't want to see Birmingham simply lay on the football, give Bo Scarborough and CJ Maribel 40 combined carries and ride their defense. Like, it's legal to try to score more than 10 points in a football game, whether it's Smith, whether it's Magoo. Let's get Marlon Williams, Victor Bolden, and Cyrus Mitchell involved, because I do think they are the best path to victory here. Now, both these defenses are fantastic, but if you do look at what the Stallions were able to do in the first few matchups, we did see a lot of the cornerbacks on New Orleans struggle. Actually had 4 different guys with a PFF coverage grade of 60 or worse. So these wide receivers for Birmingham, all season long, we've seen some good things from them. I really think that that is the best path to victory for them on offense. Throw the damn ball. Similar sentiment for the Breakers. Again, we're facing just great defenses. Both offenses have to deal with this. So with that in mind, let's try to take advantage of the one-on-one matchups on the outside, because both of these teams happen to have a handful of fantastic wide receivers. On the New Orleans side, we got Johnny Dixon and Jonathan Adams. Dixon has actually already been a thorn in the side of this Birmingham defense this season. He's caught 11 of 17 targets, 118 yards, and 2 scores in 8 quarters against the Stallions. Has been Kyle Sloter's number 1 receiver in terms of targets all season long. Jonathan Adams, though, Turpin MVP, Jonathan Adams, not the best wide receiver in the league. That should go to Kevontae Turpin. But I do think in terms of being NFL ready, not being 155 pounds, these are things that Adams, I do think, holds ahead of Turpin at this point. So just, again, the manner in which Adams has gone about scoring some of these touchdowns just oozes talent. And even though he hasn't had too much success against Birmingham, 6 catches for a combined 63 scoreless yards in 2 games, you do wonder if he can have one of these games that we know he has the potential of having, just a breakout, I'm the best player on the field performance. That is going to be New Orleans' path to victory. So I just think at the end of this game, I'm not expecting it to be too high scoring. What's the game total? 44.5. I would be taking the under on that game total. And I think we're going to look back and we're going to see one of these wide receivers, Bolden, Williams, Dixon, Adams, make the sort of big contested catch or the long run after a catch that blows the game open and ultimately gets their team to the championship. So I'll give Birmingham the nod as the more complete team, but just like before, I think this spread's a little too wide. Give me the Breakers +5 under the pretense that both of these defenses will, again, keep things close from start to finish, expecting one of these wide receivers to hopefully make that big play and send them home. That's going to wrap up this edition of the PFF Fantasy Football Podcast. We'll be back with another preview ahead of Championship Sunday. Probably final podcast will be after that championship. I am not going to be doing these throughout the entire offseason. Do not worry about that, everyone. But hey, we'll be back next year, obviously. And let's have some great playoff action. I am devastated to say I'm not going to be able to catch all of this action on Saturday Live. Going to be traveling to Long Beach Island with the fiance and a bunch of her family to hang out, sit at the beach, be a freaking bum for a few days or if not longer. But unfortunately, my flights are on Saturday, and tough to make your future family curb their entire vacation plans around your desire to watch USFL football. But believe you me, I will still be trying to get through every single snap possible. Pains me I can't be in Canton for it, but there's always next year, right? So don't worry, watch it for me. And let's watch some more great live football, guys. It's been a fun year. Dozens of us have been enjoying it. We got 2 more weeks of it. Let's soak it all in. Then we'll have NFL right around the corner. So thanks as always for tuning in. I'm Ian Hartitz. Until next time, take care, everybody.